thought some of you might want to see this, but I have already made one. This one I ended up gluing up at the same time. I decided that oars for our dinghy were going to be just too expensive, and honestly I didn't like what I had, so figured I would show you guys how I made the oar. I've already made one, and more or less how I turned just a block of 2x8, a piece of 2x4 cut in half, into this oar right here. So hope you enjoy the video. Some of my methods are a little more unconventional because, well, I don't have all the tools. Let me plug in this other light, that might help out. Be able to see a little more. Because I don't have all the right tools, so it's going to be a little unconventional, just the way it's going to be. Anyway, so just trying to figure out what I want for my, I think I'm going to have this on my inside side. I'm going to take a hand block over here, take off just a little of this unevenness that I didn't like. Time, make it up just a little bit. Yeah, it's probably good enough for now. So, with my other one, I took out a pocket right in the middle, just kind of curved it in here. But to get down to that depth, I just I picked more or less a central spot. And this isn't necessarily for everyone, but I picked a central spot. Set my depth gauge here to about 3/4 of an inch. Yep. So I just more or less want to hit this from, I don't know, about yay to about here, give or take. I don't have a marker with me, but put a little nick in there. Gonna run this guy pretty much right straight down that guy. Gonna do one on this side as well. More or less right down the middle of that board. Trying to hit about the same spot. And I'll just drop this guy up just a little bit. And we'll just kind of keep working our way out just a little. Certainly not saying this is the best method. Just saying it's the method that worked for me. Grab a block of wood to help prop this board up here a little bit. Way. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, I like it. Just starts that bevel out pretty good. Yeah. Well, again, you can kind of see it's just starting to take shape there, and just kind of rounding stuff off, just trying to trying to get me an initial look on what I want to do, so I'm probably going to go grab some chisels and be right back. If it's a little loud, it's because the rain is hitting the metal roof. Raining down. So with getting this stuff sawed out, now I'm going to chip out the center here. Just to get rid of most of this material. It's not exactly a precise science, but just to get it cored out a little bit, and then I'll come back with another tool and trim it out even some more. But I think my chisel needs a little sharpening. She's not bad, but she's not real great. Well, I think we're going to go back to the saw here real quick and get just a little bit more of this dug out, just a little bit, and shape it more like this one. I mean, we're getting there, but we aren't quite there yet. There, now she's starting to take shape. So we changed from unconventional to more unconventional. It's meant for metal, but it really takes out a lot of this chippy stuff pretty quick and lets me kind of work with the wood. I don't know how well you can see that, but it just, again, I'm not really super worried about it burning because that's going to come right out with the next step. But that really does kind of give you a perspective of how it takes out a lot of that chippy stuff. After I've taken out the majority of it, it just shapes it a lot nicer. It's not perfect by any means yet, but it's getting a lot smoother. And I'll keep working with it on the other side now till we switch over to the next step. Well, here we go. It is almost good. I like it. A small little block plane, it takes out just a lot of those tiny little things that the next one doesn't. It also deburrs that edge just a little bit so it doesn't get you the splinters. Love the little thing. Yeah, I'm liking it. Getting there. Getting there, getting there. Okay. take shape. Look more like a paddle. Okay, well, I wanted to kind of show you what I do here for the back side. As I'm shaping this with the big one, just trying to get those edges rounded off here. I then really like this. I've got a small. I'm just going for trying to make this thing beveled off and smooth. It gets tough when it gets up close to the center shaft here. But then this small block plane, I love it because it's smaller, it's light, and it just takes all those little imperfections right out of it. Working with a smaller piece like this. So you probably can't even tell what I'm doing, but this is more or less sanding. I mean, it's a rough sand, but it's taking off a whole lot more than a sander will, a whole lot faster, with less effort. And then some sander you can really dig in and actually create issues, where this one's, you know, only going to take off just that thin little layer, but honestly you can take it off pretty quick. I think I'm just going to round off just this edge here to try to match my bevel here. I think I'm going to try to do that just right in here. That'll okay. One of the other tools I like to use is a flapper disc wheel to help smooth out the especially the inside here. This is a little bit more meant for wood. It's a pretty aggressive grit still. This is a 40 grit. So just going to take off, again, a fair amount of material, and then I'll probably come out with a hand sander, just a finish. I like the size of the disc for the, it just leaves about the right curve on there, so I can use it as kind of a template, and if I need to, I can twist it more straight up and down, or more sideways, but it really does a nice job if I, just as kind of a, you know, what's the radius of that bend going to be. Really, more or less, I'm just trying to pretty it up and leave it so it doesn't have quite so many divots, and just trying to make it smooth. And I don't know, hopefully it works, because I have no idea if these paddles will even work. But they aren't super thin, but they're fairly light. They're just made out of pine 2x4s and 2x8s, and had scrap that I just laying around the house, so really hasn't cost me about the time I put into it. And well, hopefully it'll be really good oars for our dinghy. Here I'm trying to leave this center just for my main stiffness. Leave as much of this glued section, because I glued all the way down it, but leave as much as I can so that when I'm pushing, it's got a lot of surface area there to go off of. So that's why I'm not taking a whole lot out of here, trying to leave that nice and thick. One, for strength because of the main pole, but then two, for the glued section for my wings here, since they've got a lot of surface area to be able to push against that glued section. And the next step I want to show is how I turned the other handle from round, or from the square into round. And I thought it was going to be a lot harder process than it was. So we'll wait and see if the second time I do it, if it's that hard, or if it's goes quite as smooth as it did the last time. There's a diameter you're supposed to run here that's 7 to 10 to 7. And so I use this just to set up that score all the way down there. And then when you take it from this edge, you probably can't even see these things, so they don't highlight real easy on the wood. But if you take it from this spot to this spot and I shave it down just to those 2 spots, then it will leave myself, rather than 4, with a perfect octagon, which would be 8 sides. And then I take and shave down just those ridges one more time. And after that, I will just take sandpaper, and it literally just sandpapers right very easily into that perfect circle, or at least perfect, good enough for me. It's by all means probably from perfect, but it's actually more impressive than I thought I'd ever get it. So here we go. Actually, why I have the chop saw here is it actually is a significantly sturdier stand than my sawhorse and table was. So hopefully that'll prove to be the case again today, and we'll get this thing going for you. There you have it. Bring that a little closer. Certainly not a perfect octagon, but really pretty close. Kind of give you an idea of what that does. So that's after you take those first markings back to the inside. I tried to mark it. There is a way to mark just a little bit on both sides of this one, and I pretty much soon found out just doing it by the eyeball was the easiest. Just to kind of go with how it looked by the eye, but that is where we're up to next. So I'll probably kick you back into another time lapse because nobody wants to see me do this for the next 10 minutes. And I'll just shave off just that, it's not a lot this time, it's just a little tiny bit, just to more or less try to get it back in again about that third, not quite a third. And we'll make 16 sides to it, and after that it's just sanding. Well, you really probably can't see it now, but I'll try to still bring it close to give you an idea. There's certainly not a perfect 16, but it's not horrible. That actually didn't take that long. Again, like I said, I just more eyeball it. And if you start out with a pretty straight piece of wood, which I somehow lucked out and found a really good aged piece of 2x4, so it shouldn't warp. I think it's been sitting in the barn for more than a year. Well, I'm gonna go grab a piece of sandpaper, and I'll give you a time lapse of that and then show you kind of the finished product. This would probably work good enough. I mean, it really is fairly round, but it's amazing, just a little bit of sandpaper and it looks like a finished dowel. Okay, I just wanted to really more or less see if I can show you. It's hard to see, but it really, I'm not having to sand that much. The first time I did this, I honestly just thought, well, I'm just gonna get started, just because I figured it was gonna take a long time of sanding, because sanding is always a long project. But with the way this goes, I have like, I don't know, it's probably a 60 grit, maybe it's an 80 grit strip of sandpaper here. And just kind of using it like you know, it just goes so smooth, so quick to take off those ridges. It's almost fun. It really is. Just kind of crazy how little effort it takes to round that off into a perfect dowel. At least perfect enough for me. And your hand can feel the inconsistencies and feel where it's not quite right, and you just spend a little more time on that section and call it good. Good, so I sanded it all off and then dusted off all the sand, or the sawdust. And so now I'm going to add some spar urethane to it. When I was figuring out what the best stuff to put on these oars, I saw somebody that was restoring an old wooden sailboat, a large one, and all of the wood they were putting on this spar urethane on it, and I thought that's good enough for the boat that's going to sit out in the sun and salt water and everything else. It's probably good enough for a couple of oars on a dinghy. You don't want to shake it or stir it too violently, or the bubbles will create a problem in the finish on the wood. Grab my brush here and I'm gonna you want to put it on pretty thin and do, I think the last one I did a solid 4 coats. I don't know if I put a 5th one on or not, I don't remember. You can always add more later, but you know it's going to be in pretty harsh environment, so you try not to put it on real thick though. This first coat, I've watched a guy pour it on. He just absolutely poured it on and then tried to buff it out later, but most of the stuff that I read was just put it on about as thin as you can and just keep putting on coats. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think we'll kick you over to a time lapse and see the rest of it go real quick. There you have it. First coat. That spar urethane is on there, and doesn't look a lot different, but pretty soon it'll be good to go. So wake up early in the morning and try to get another coat on and go from there.